And even if it's not, as a reminder, if you see me looking around like a crazy person, I'm just monitoring our stream as we're on the call. We're also going out to YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, and Facebook. So I'm looking at all the different streams and making sure all the technical
Mm.
goodness is working. With that said, it is time for the intro video.
Hello, and welcome to the Beat Cancer Answer, brought to you by BeatCancer.Org, the Center for Advancement in Cancer Education. We believe that 90% of all cancers could be eliminated through environmental and lifestyle choices alone, and science agrees. Unfortunately, most people don't know it. So we provide the education that can help you prevent, cope with, and beat cancer through diet, lifestyle, and other immune-boosting approaches. In every video, we will feature an expert who can teach us how to become part of that 90%, who could prevent getting diagnosed with cancer. But if you already have cancer, we have empowering information for you too. Over the past 40+ years, our nonprofit counseling service has helped thousands of cancer patients get back into the driver's seat when it comes to their personal journey of healing cancer and preventing future recurrence. If we helped you learn just one thing today about how to prevent, cope with, or beat cancer, then we have succeeded in our mission. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. We appreciate all of your feedback and love your suggestions. Your positive ratings help us to get discovered so we can help save more lives. Thank you again for joining us, and best wishes for good health from all of us at BeatCancer.Org.
All right, and we are back and we are officially started. Thank you everybody for joining us. I am Zachariah Frank, the COO of BeatCancer.org, joined with my co-host Carl Wagner, the CEO of BeatCancer.org. We have several of our holistic cancer coaches on with us tonight. We have several guests who are welcome to participate as well, and we will get off to it. Some quick ground rules before we get started. As a reminder, nothing that is said on this call is intended to be taken as explicit medical advice. We're here to share our thoughts, share our opinions, spread education, information, and share resources. Always consult with the appropriate medical practitioner when needed, and always do your due diligence when discussing and contemplating all health matters. Additionally, for the sake of the flow of the call, please keep yourself muted when you're not actively speaking. That'll help us ensure that no unexpected background noises pop up and, disturb the audio for the rest of the participants. You are welcome to unmute and participate, and you're encouraged to do so at the appropriate times. For the flow of the call as well, when we have larger groups like this, please do make use of the raise hand feature in Zoom. If you're not familiar with how to do that, it's at the lower toolbar of your Zoom window. And if you don't see it, if your window is small, try making it a bit larger, and then more buttons might appear. Raising that hand will look like this. If you look at my window now, there's a hand raised, and that will show me that you have a question, and we'll be sure to get to you as soon as possible and in the order at which we see the hands. You're also welcome to make use of the comment section or the chat, if you will. So right here in the Zoom, we have the Zoom chat, and you can put your comments, questions, anything you'd like to share right in there. And if it's something that needs addressing, we will address it in the order they come in as well. For our friends catching the live stream on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, wherever you are, we do monitor those chats as well. So if you have a question or a comment, you are welcome to put them in those chats as you see fit. If you, catching it on social media, would like to join us on this Zoom call itself, you are welcome to do so by going to BeatCancer.org and clicking on the weekly call button at the top of the website. That said, one final announcement for the health of the call, the healthy flow of the call. If myself or my co-host Carl are speaking, please do yield to us so we can direct the mic to who is next chronologically. Um, any other announcements, Carl?
I think that's good. If you you might want to refrain from having lengthy conversations between two people. If you want to get more into detail with certain things, you can direct message them in the chat, and you can continue on while you're on the call, or you could ask us for each other's contact information, and we will get you in touch with each other for longer conversations.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you everybody for joining us here on January the 9th of 2025. And I hope everyone's ready to kick off the year with a wonderful health and healing conversation. So with that, Carl, what would you like to do? Would you like to discuss some of the topics that we had on the table preemptively, or would you like to turn it over to our participants to see if anyone has any particular questions we can address? What would you like to get started with, Carl?
Well, if we have any guests on the line that aren't coaches, perhaps they have something weighing on them and want to bring it up for the call. If not, we'll just give them a couple of seconds to say something. And
Absolutely. So the mic is open for someone to chime in and share anything you'd like to share, ask anything you'd like to ask, um, and we will leave that open. Who would like to share what's on their heart? I'll call names.
Yes.
Oh, hello,
Hello.
Miller Jr. is the
Uh,
screen name I
that's my
see.
husband, Jeff Miller, and this is Betsy Miller. And my husband was recently diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma in his throat. And we're looking for some options. We're looking into two different cancer places. Besides MD Anderson, we've been going there. He hasn't started radiation or chemo, which is the standard care that they offer. So we're looking into uh, Hope for Cancer and Oasis of Hope. And we wanted to know if anybody had any experience with either of them and any recommendations for alternative treatments.
Thank you very much for being here today, for opening up to us, and we commend you for seeking a holistic solution to what your family is facing. With that said, I'll turn it over to Carl. I believe he is familiar with some of those organizations, and then I see a hand raised from Jane. We will get to yourself after Carl. So, Carl, what would you like to say about those organizations, if anything, that you
I
know?
believe we have a coach that works with Hope for Cancer, Jose Hernandez.
I believe he does, yes. Down
Yeah.
in Mexico, correct?
Yep, we've heard good things about that. I'm not sure about Oasis, but I have heard of them, and I might have met some of the doctors from there at Annie Appleseed, but other than that, I don't know them intimately. And that's about all I have on those two organizations. With Jose is also a minister, so he's um, it's very close to his heart to work with Hope for Cancer.
Yeah, we have heard good things from different people, such as Jose on Hope for Cancer. If you are looking for other treatment centers and treatment facilities, one very nice resource is CancerDoctor.com. That's run by some wonderful people, and they essentially have compiled a database and they do different levels of vetting of cancer treatment facilities that offer holistic solutions and natural solutions in their implementations. Again, that's CancerDoctor.com. We are not affiliated with them, but we've had chats with them over the years, and they have compiled a map and different locations, and that might be a good resource for yourself to look at as well. I'm going to put that link in the chat for you to catch. It's a very easy name, but sometimes it's easier to click it. That said, I'm going to toss it over to Jane, who I believe had something to say. Jane Dempsey.
Hi. First of all, thank you for sharing. Certainly, it's a long journey, and a difficult journey. So thank you for reaching out to us so that maybe we can help. I have a lot of experience with Cooper. My husband recently died from chronic myelogenous leukemia, and he lasted a long time, further than they thought, and we all thought, because we were doing integrative medicine. We were doing it through first through Dr. Saccone, who is an integrative medicine doctor, he's an MD, and then through Dr. Bazan, who's affiliated with Jefferson. Jefferson is the only place that has an integrative medicine division. The difference that I found with Cooper, as separate from Penn and Lourdes before that, or Virtua, is that they very much respect the opinions and worked very well with Dr. Bazan, possibly because he was an MD, possibly because he was at Jefferson, but mostly because MD Anderson is run by Dr. Generosa Grana, and she is very in line with wanting integrative medicine. Actually, we were doing a proposal right before MD Anderson came in, and she was ready to go with having an integrative medicine doctor, and MD Anderson said no. But all of the doctors are open to free choices. And I think Cooper is very different in that. The other thing that I think was important, and I'll tell you why I think it's important, is I said to the doctors, unless you have a note signed by God, do not tell me prognosis. My previous husband also died of the same rare form of leukemia, which is like a soap opera. But every time Michael was told, you have this many months to go, you have this many this year, it became a hypnotic suggestion. So we don't want to hear that. It's not necessary. And it's not a given. And Cooper respected, all the doctors respected what I asked of them. And they said, we've learned so many times that we don't know. So I found Cooper wonderful to work with because they accepted our choices.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing, Jane. Does anyone else have knowledge on Hope for Cancer or the other institution that was asked about?
Oasis.
Oasis. Thank you, Carl.
I haven't heard of either one myself. I am looking at options down in Mexico too. I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer metastasized about a year and a half ago, so I'm doing quite well. And you're absolutely right. They can't give you a prognosis. I'm also working with other organizations, and there's a place in Mexico called Williams Cancer Institute. And I have heard through a friend, she went down there. It's very, very expensive. They do the immune therapy and the ablation and a few other therapies, and they're very good and highly regarded and up on the latest. I'm up here in Canada. I've also done integrative health as well. And with the integrative health, I've done a couple of different therapies. They were helpful, but they didn't really help as much. I am currently working with our cancer organization here in Canada and doing chemotherapy. I am getting some response, and I'm doing a injection of triatide because I have a neuroendocrine tumor, and it does respond to the triatide shots. So I'm doing lots of holistic things. I'm on lots of groups, and I'm keeping open to other possibilities because the treatment at Williams Cancer Institute is very expensive. It's like $30,000 to $50,000 a treatment, and they recommended I might need 6 of them. So that's why I'm holding off on that treatment, but I know that that would work. And there are lots of, like I say, different resources down in Mexico, but I haven't heard reviews if what worked or didn't, because a lot of them seem they offer a lot of the integrative and not um, like streamlined stuff like the immune therapy or ablation or where it really gets at the cancer, kind of works around it or works in a holistic fashion, i.e. nutrition, different herbs. I've done mistletoe, I've done the vitamin C injections, I've done I think they call it hydrotherapy as well, which was very expensive too. And I didn't really get response with that either. So just sharing, keep open and keep exploring because, we're all different in our cancers, and what might not work for somebody else might work for you. It's very individualized. So that's my share. Go ahead.
Awesome. Jane, is that another hand up?
Just very quickly, Michael was taking ivermectin through Dr. Bazan and respected by the other doctors. And he also does telemedicine, and he's not that expensive. The first visit is $1,200. The other visits are $320. And most of the lab work, because it goes through a healthcare system, is covered. So
could you add that contact information to the chat, please?
absolutely.
Thank
Yep.
you.
That ivermectin, I know I can get it up here in Canada, actually. I got it from a herbologist at a natural store, and I just started that. And there's another Chinese remedy, some vitamin E thing with the Chinese medicine too. I mean, there's all kinds of things out there. But I hear good things on that. I think what did you call that? Ivermectin or something?
Ivermectin.
Ivermectin. I always say it wrong, but you want to
How do you spell that?
Contraindications.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
thank
put
you.
it in the chat. I'll put
This
it all
is helpful.
in the chat.
Thank
For
you.
some reason, the chat's not showing up. I don't know why, but
You gotta click the chat thing at the bottom.
Yeah, if you're on your computer, at the bottom toolbar
Yeah,
below
I
all of
see
the
it.
windows.
oh,
Yeah,
I see it. Yes, I'll put it all in there.
wonderful. Thank you very
And,
much, Jane.
Kathy Oliver, she was next.
I just want to absolutely we'll get to Kathy. I just want to make sure we're not tangenting off too hard off of our original share, Miss Miller Jr. as is logged in. Did you have any follow-up questions on your original question there, or any additional things before we get too far off moving along? I would love to know.
Yeah, I wasn't quite clear on what Jane Dempsey said about the doctor that was the first visit 1,200 and then second was 3. What doctor was that?
Yeah, she's gonna put that into the chat so that you can get it exactly correct, the
Okay.
information. And if you
Thank you.
don't get the information correct, please just contact us at support@BeatCancer.org. And we'll get you all the information that you need.
Okay,
Want to
thank
add
you.
one more doctor to the list. It's Dr. Mackis from Canada. And he does charge about $500 for the telecom visit. He is in the latest research on ivermectin and fenbendazole and other repurposed drugs. He's one of the, I think, 5-6 doctors in the world right now who's getting a great result. It was a higher dose of it. So if you like that, I can put the information down.
Yep, put it in the chat, please.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I will put his name. I don't have his contact information on hand.
Thank you. Thank you
Sure.
very much, Maya.
And Kathy?
I was just going to say, you had mentioned Hope for Cancer, and Dr. Jimenez, if I'm saying that correctly, was a speaker at the Beljanski Cancer Conference last year. I don't know him personally, but I did get a chance to meet with him, and he was, as I said, one of the speakers, and he's an amazing guy. His program's amazing. So I would definitely highly recommend that. And the Beljanski Cancer Conference is a wealth of information as well. So, and that's coming up in April, I believe.
That's true. That's true. Several of our Beat Cancer community members, including Carl and myself, will be in attendance. In fact, several of the organizers of the event and the featured speakers are people that have been through our Holistic Cancer Coach certification program as well. So it is a wonderful conference. If you're looking to get more information, if you're looking to network with the Holistic Cancer information community, there will be representatives from probably some treatment centers around. I can't guarantee who's in attendance, but likely there will be a lot of people with information. So that is the Beljanski Conference. I forget if that's the official name, but I'll put a link in the chat. That's happening in April, right? Yeah, in Austin, Texas. So a bit of a ways from Canada, but wonderful conference all the same. They may offer virtual seats and virtual viewership. Um, so that is perhaps another option. If someone is looking to attend conferences, there is also, of course, the Annie Appleseed Foundation Conference happening in West Palm, Florida in February. And so that is another conference for those that are looking to dive into the world in person, talk to people, and potentially make some connections in that way. So I'll put the information for both of those in the chat, and I'll toss it over to Carl before we move on to see if there's anything he would like to add.
No, let's get to the questions, and you can just go ahead and put everything in the chat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to go get that chat. Cool. So yeah, floor is open once again. If any of our attendees have any topics of interest, any questions, or anything that we can serve you with, that floor is open. If not, that's okay too. We will get to some of our scheduled questions. No?
So I think last week we were on a topic, and some people thought that, what does this have to do with cancer? And every question that we proposed came from frequently asked questions of people that wanted to know about this because of cancer.
Yeah, so that's a good topic to even bring up broad scale. What do all of these different holistic health and wellness topics that we talk about have to do with cancer? What are we talking about gut health for? What are we talking about EMFs for? What are we talking about fabric, synthetic versus natural fabrics for? Well, in my personal opinion, all of these things are very relevant to cancer because anything that is helpful in keeping our bodies healthy in general is ultimately helping our body be inhospitable for cancer. And when we are facing a cancer concern or any other ailment, it's important to address a lot of these fundamental and seemingly small things that might be impacting our body's ability to heal. It's like the old phrase, a death by 1,000 cuts, right? If all these little things are digging away at us day by day, small impact by small impact, over time, these things accumulate and can result in some very severe devastation in our body. So when we talk about very specific implementable topics like gut health, like all these micro things, and aren't specifically saying the word cancer in every single conversation, the purpose is to overall set our bodies up for health in totality. Back to you, Carl, for any additional thoughts on that, or we can send it over to our coaches for their
It's all
thoughts.
about non-toxic and immune boosting modalities. That's right in the mission statement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. So that said, I see that there was no additional questions. There's a lot of people on this call, and nobody has anything they'd like to talk about. That's okay, but the floor is open. No, don't be shy. How about some of our friends that are on cam right now that are joining us perhaps for the first time or the first time in a while? How about Miss Deborah, Deborah C? We haven't heard from yourself yet. We'd love to know what brings you out tonight.
You're on mute. You're muted.
Oh, there you go. I'll prompt you to unmute. Oh, I see a lot of buttons being pressed. It's only a matter of time. Not quite yet. We'll give it
Yep.
a few more seconds there. That's all right. I'm assuming you're on a phone.
If not, we could move to maybe Nohemi. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, Nohemi, Miss, assume Miss. Apologize if not. Nohemi Serrano. You're welcome to grab the mic, unmute yourself, and let us know what brings you out to the call tonight and what's on your mind.
Well, good evening. Basically, I'm just trying to get some information about cancer, and so everything I hear is good. I have a lot of friends that die of cancer, and it was very hard. And I did try to communicate with them to get in touch with you guys. So, so I've been coming in just to hear off and on, and yeah, my heart is just to learn more and maybe become a coach or learn. I don't know, take a training. So we appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you
Um,
very much for
yeah.
joining. And so in your quest for knowledge and you've considered becoming a coach, and we have several coaches on with us tonight, or we have several coaches in training as well. Is there anything you are wondering about what it's like to become a certified coach that you'd like to ask any of us here tonight?
Well, I know I've read, so it's just basically for me to decide when to start that, just to prevent for myself, my family. Now, I have friends of mine that their family are prone to cancer. So really just to help um, overall.
Well, that's what it starts with is a heart to help, for sure.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh, wait a minute. Deborah got her phone situated, so
Okay.
Hi.
no, hold on one second. Naomi, is that everything, or did you have anything else to add?
Oh, no, that's everything. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Pretty much.
We
So,
didn't want to cut you off. Okay.
oh, no, no problem. Thanks.
Okay, Deborah.
Okay, well, I'm the motivation to be here for tonight is because Jeffrey and Betsy are my sister and brother-in-law, and that I was trying to find information for them as to complementary cancer resources in Mexico because I have been a cancer survivor for a long time, and I'm also a retired acupuncturist, and I'm a speaker at the Annie Appleseed conference coming up next month.
Yeah.
So I've known about this organization for a long time, your organization. I've just never been on any of the coach calls. So I referred them, my sister, to this call for tonight so she could get more information.
Glad you're here. Glad you're here. We'll be seeing you in person.
And I can't say enough good about the Annie Appleseed conferences. I've been attending them personally since about 2012. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Surprised I didn't bump into you for lunch or something.
You might have. The food's so good there, right?
Yeah. They take over the hotel and bring in all their own food and chefs and everything else. It's great.
Everything's organic. Yep. Yeah.
Very
That's
good.
that's about it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on and thank you for referring. Zach?
Awesome. I was just sending a link over to Nohemi, but I will put the offer to anyone else on the call as well. If you were to be interested in becoming a certified holistic cancer coach with us, I'm available for private meetings where we can discuss that and really make sure that it's a good fit for what you're looking for, and we can explain to you everything that is involved with the program. So I'll
All
put
right.
that
Thank
link
you.
in the chat.
Yeah.
And I look forward to speaking with you.
Perfect,
Awesome.
thanks.
That said, let's see. Do we have anyone else we haven't heard from yet? We have iPhone 13. Not sure who that is, but if you'd like to grab the mic, we'd love to know what brings you out tonight and what's on your mind. Someone logged in as iPhone 13. You're welcome to unmute. I'm just calling on names and people I'm not familiar with that might be being shy tonight. That's all right. That's all right.
Got Travis coming in.
Yep, absolutely. Before we get to our general topics for the evening, I'll open it even to our coaches that are on. If there's anything on your mind, any topics that you'd like to bring to the table. We got a hand from Linda.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment about anybody who wants to become a holistic cancer coach. I have been a perpetual student for almost 30 years, and I always say if you have some sort of a health concern, uh, nothing against us, don't hire a coach, become one. Take the courses, share what you know, get involved with the community because you're learning from the source. So I've been with Beat Cancer for 5 years, and now all of a sudden cancer's popping up in my family, and I have tools. So if I hadn't taken the course, I wouldn't even have tools for my family and friends. So I highly recommend it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. She is in no way hired by Beat Cancer.
What's that? What's that?
You say we didn't hire you to say that.
That was not a paid endorsement. That was from the heart.
Awesome. Well, with that said, if anyone does have any topics that they would like to bring up, we are always accepting that in the chat or if you grab the mic when we open it up. But that said, let's get to one of our scheduled topics for tonight because it's a wonderful one and a very important one for this time of year. So the question is, and this is an open question for our coaches, and then we'll open it up to our general participants as well. The question is, what is one do-it-yourself herbal remedy people can make at home for the common cold or flu? This time of year is often, by some people, called flu season. It seems that several people end up feeling unwell right around this time of year. So, what are some of those DIY, do-it-yourself herbal remedies or natural remedies that someone can make at home? Open for the coaches to chime on in. Now's your time to shine, coaches. Is that a hand, Jane?
Yes. I find, I don't know if this would fall into the category, but the neti pot really works very well.
Awesome. Would you like to explain more about what that is for someone who's
Sure.
not familiar?
Sure. It's container and it's easy to buy in any drugstore. Now they're readily available. And it has a shape of Aladdin's lamp, I guess, a little bit. So it goes, you put water in it and has to be distilled water. Some people think you can boil the water. You cannot. It has to be a distilled water for safety. So as my pharmacist said, so that you don't have infection in the brain. And you can use it with or without salt. It works better with salt. And you just tilt your head down and it goes from one side of the nasal cavity to the other and really opens up the being the sinuses. And the other one that is extremely helpful is it's an inhaler. Again, you could buy it in CVS, and it just inhales steam, and that helps the sinuses tremendously. And both of them work very well.
Amazing. Amazing. Wonderful. And I see a hand up from Bobby. Thank you very much for sharing, Jane. Over to you, Bobby. Bobby is muted.
Okay,
There we go.
Thank you. First of all, thank you and Zach and Carl for doing this Zoom call and taking the time. There's something that I've been doing. I at 32 had adult onset asthma, and I went through all the things of the 5 years of shots and this is 30 over 40 years of having asthma. Since I've been with Beat Cancer, I've learned a lot of things. But one thing I do that you were talking about with the colds and all that, what people don't realize when it gets very cold at night, um, you put on the heat and there's all the bacteria and dust that's coming out and you don't realize. So number one, you got to keep your bedroom cold because every time I hear so many people getting sick at this time, one of the things I do is I use a facial. The neti pot is very good. I've never been able to do that because I feel like I'm drowning. But what I do is I use a steamer, like a facial steamer, and I clean my nose out, and then I even use a Q-tip, and you're getting all that debris and dust that's been coming from all your vents. People just don't realize how much that happened. So at night, keep the heat off, make it cold. And so, and I do put a little bit of Vicks also. I don't have asthma anymore. But, and that's another story. There's a lot of things I do with holistic ways. So if anyone wants to know, that's off the records. But anyway, that's what I do.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing. Yeah, there's a lot of branching off points with that. Breathing clean air can go a very long way. And I don't think a lot of people consider how clean the air around them is. Certainly, the first order of business would be to stop inputting very harmful things into the air in your home. For example, chemical fragrances through plugins or Febreze type sprays, paraffin wax candles, which are going to be the standard wax candles, or even synthetically fragranced candles, no matter what wax they're based off of, can input a lot of very toxic um, just overall stuff into the air. And then you go ahead and breathe that air, and it's no wonder that there's a lot of respiratory issues in a lot of people. But there are steps that we can take to combat some of the nastiness in the air, whether that is chemical inundation or even just dust and debris. For example, you see behind me that little black cylinder over there is an air filter device and something that we end up talking about a lot because it's a very easy implementation in the household. You can get ones as small as that for small rooms such as this. You can get very large units for open floor plans or large living rooms. Personally, I keep one in every room in the house, and it's amazing how much garbage they'll pull out of the air in a short amount of time. And over time, those filters get, really packed up with dust that otherwise we'd all be breathing in. So that's another implementation. But I definitely second what Bobby was saying about sleeping in a cold room. Overall, sleeping in a cooler or even cold climate has a lot of health benefits. So that is very advisable, at least in my personal opinion. But on the subject matter of central heating and central cooling systems, that is a very important topic in a lot of different ways. Firstly, when's the last time anyone has got those systems cleaned out? A lot of people neglect that as part of home ownership. It's easy to forget about it. But there are services that can come in and clean out the ducts. And you never know what could be in there, whether it's dust or critters and bugs and all sorts of nasty stuff that might be in there. And as that air is blowing through, it's picking up particulates and then blowing it out the vents right at you. So that's one consideration as well. But secondly, it's important to talk about temperature fluctuations. Humans are biologically designed to exist in a natural environment, and we weren't necessarily designed with central heating and central cooling in mind. So we haven't necessarily evolved or adapted biologically to exist in heat of a house and then go outside and it's cold. And then we're cold. And then we come back inside and it's hot. And then it's going outside and it's cold and then it's hot. And that back and forth can very it makes it difficult for our bodies to regulate and understand what's going on. And then that opens us up to an assortment of potential dysregulation effects. But I'm going to hand it over to Linda C., and then we will get over to Maya.
Thank you so much. This has been a really good call. Just a couple things I've learned over the years. So I used to work in the public as a counselor and with lots of people, and everybody talks about the flu shot, but I learned, of course, echinacea is good and vitamin C and zinc, all those things. The thing that really knocked it out, as soon as you feel any trace of a cold coming on, is oil of oregano. And if you get it in the capsule versus the tincture, you can tolerate it. The tincture is like, burn your tongue, but some people do it. So yeah, I think I keep that in my cabinet, and I'm on chemo, like you say, and I've been managing to stay healthy, knock on wood. And as soon as I feel anything coming on, because I have a lower white blood count, oil oregano, and I also take an immune booster too, with a bunch of herbs as well.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Oil of oregano is known to be extremely powerful and well done in supporting your body through chemotherapy. There's very interesting difference in success and maintenance of vitality and overall life quality when someone is going through chemotherapy and using holistic methods such as that to support the body through the experience versus not. So well done, and thanks for joining the call as well. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Over to Maya. Maya's muted.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. To add to all those beautiful suggestions for cold, so I'm going to bring in something that I grew up with. Basically, my grandma used to use, our grandma used to use on us when we get cold. That would be comfrey oil. Comfrey oil is very soothing when it comes to cough and sinus infections. So the way you can put it, you can rub on your chest, or you can put it in the nebulizer and inhale it. The other way of using the nebulizer is the mixing of hydrogen peroxide, either with oregano oil or with iodine. So those are the two items to use when it comes to, inhalating an air that opens up the pathway. And hydrogen peroxide, everyone have it at home. Usually an oregano oil also, people do have it at home. And iodine, potassium iodide is another one, 1-2 drops of potassium iodide into the nebulizer and doing 15 minutes nebulizing. That does open up the airways and kills the bacteria and viruses. So those are I do have tons of them, but those are the ones that comes to my mind right now.
Did you say comfrey?
Comfrey, yes, comfrey oil.
I just started growing that plant this year.
Comfrey is very good. My grandma used to mix comfrey and then the mustard seed and then she would use any form of fat and then turmeric and cayenne pepper that she would mix them and make like a paste, and she would put it in a cloth and then put it on the chest. That's very good for bronchitis, the cough. Should put it on the chest here on the back side too, from both sides, and let it heat up. Gotta be careful with the mustard seed powder because it might burn skin. You have to always, like if it's heating up, you have to take it off. Because I did that once and caused me blisters. So I just want to say, like, it's very strong. It brings the blood flow into the area and opens up the pores, and it soothes the cough and, does it's easier to breathe. So that's what I wanted to add.
Thank you, Maya.
You're welcome.
I think I saw Kathy Oliver's hand raised.
I just wanted to share what we do when we start feeling like we're getting something, we immediately do a vitamin D bomb. So it's like 50,000 IUs of vitamin D a day for 3 days. Which if you can get it fast enough, usually kicks it right out. We also have a dry far infrared sauna, which is great because inflammation is kind of the root of all evil. So getting in there and just sweating it out is really nice, as well as like Epsom salt baths or green tea baths with Himalayan salt just to detox and really because you get all that stuff out, it just allows your body to do what it's created to do, which is heal itself. So
Absolutely. It's, a lot of people focus on what can I take? What can I take? What can I take? And don't think about what can I do to support my body's own processes that are built in to help me through facing, some sort of contaminant. And an example like a sauna is such a fantastic example of something that supports our own body's ability to purge stuff out. I mean, when's the last time, you don't have to answer this, is a rhetorical question. Ask yourself, when's the last time you really broke a deep sweat? A lot of people, they can't necessarily remember that. But sweating is one of our body's primary detoxification avenues. Gets everything out through the pores. And obviously taking different herbs and supplements and remedies and different things can support the body internally in getting stuff moving and getting stuff flowing. But the fundamentals can go a long way. So yeah, infrared sauna or even just a standard dry sauna, get the body sweating and it'll want to remove what shouldn't be there. So yeah, fantastic share. Thank you very much, Kathy. Um, yeah, there are countless wonderful remedies people can create or utilize at home. Um, Before we move on, I'll open the floor again. If anyone has any additional DIY home remedies, they could be herbal, it could be something else that are their go-tos for this cold and flu season, as it's called.
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Yep. I always give it a big bomb. First, I do use the neti pot, and I do use a little bit of iodine. Uh, when that flush goes through, that was a big deal during the last big virus. And also too, green tea with honey and some apple cider vinegar. So I use those and zinc. I think zinc helps a lot of things like it opens up pathways and it allows vitamin C to get in, do its job.
Wonderful. I saw a hand up from Jane, and then we'll get back over to Kathy.
Okay. I forgot to mention two things. One, as a preventive, we tend to close our windows, even in the cold weather. Open the windows a little bit, open the door to get fresh air circulating. And I think that helps a lot. But in the beginning of COVID, I had a fever for 2 months. They didn't know it was COVID at the time. And my integrative medicine doctor at the time prescribed something called lauricidin, Lauricidin. It's a monolaurin supplement, and I get it from Natural Concepts online, and it acts almost like an antibiotic on viruses. And it's a totally natural substance. They're little beads, and you put them in a teaspoon and just take them. But this has been very helpful for anything viral.
Cool. I've never even heard of that.
Do
Wonderful.
you want me? I'll put the name in the chat.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Please do.
Well, Bobby nodding in approval of that, but we'll get to Kathy first and then we'll get to Bobby.
Sure.
sorry, I'm technically challenged. I don't know how to raise my hand other than
That's
doing
all right.
this.
Hey, the old fashioned works.
I'm old school. I am old school.
There's a feature. There's a feature on Zoom where you can set it up so that if you actually physically raise your hand, it does put up the like the virtual one too.
Okay, that's way too new age for me. I'm sorry. I am way too old school.
All right.
The other thing that we do is colloidal silver. Put some drops in water. It comes in a nose spray. I put drops in my kids' ears, in my ears, in my eye, in eye. I've even used it on my dogs. But I think colloidal silver is really a really very powerful tool for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I keep that in my medicine cabinet personally as well, along with several other things. Um, thank you. Bobby.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking, and I thought of the colloidal silver also because you can put it on your hands. I mean, they used silver before antibiotics. And as long as you do a very good quality colloidal silver, having asthma, like I said, when I was 32, um, and throughout my life, but I have it no more because I've learned to combat it through holistically. I was doing flu shots every single year, 15 years of flu shots and steroids and antibiotics. They were destroying my body doing these things. So things like the colloidal silver is wonderful. And there's things you can do that you can just put quality uh, in your body. And monolaurin, what you were talking about, I know a product with, I think they put about 100 million into that product with it's an incredible product, and it has what my doctor told me is it's an abundant amount of very high quality. Um, I'm partnered with a lot of chiropractors and PhD naturopaths and doctors and nurses and nurse anesthetists, and goes on and on and on. So I get a lot of information and education from all of them, and also formulators. So I don't know everything about this, but I know I take the monolaurin and I do a product with that is incredible, incredible. So you're right on with that. So I just wanted to say yay for that.
Absolutely. Bobby brings up a fantastic point. When we are talking about these things, it's important to understand that there's always the caveat of it's important to make sure that you are obtaining a high quality and trustworthy source, because the truth of the matter is that not all things on the market are made the same. Whether it's colloidal silver, there's different concentrations or dilutions. Whether we're talking about some sort of herb, there's different levels of quality or purity or dosage, or even something as important as what part of the plant is that supplement, if it's a supplement, derived from. Because the leaf of a plant or an herb might have a different effect than the root, might have a different effect than the stem, et cetera, et cetera. But all of these different parts of the plant might be on the shelf or online just listed as whatever the name of that herb is. And they could have vastly different effects. So yeah, ensure you're getting some quality stuff, and that, of course, is its own rabbit hole of due diligence to dive down. I don't recommend going on Temu for your herbs, for example, but there are some great examples of trustworthy sources out there, and discuss with your trustworthy community members, perhaps to see what recommendations are, and then do your own research. I'm just reading the comments here. Jane is giving a recommendation not to get supplements on Amazon.
Oh, no. Oh,
Bobby is agreeing.
RTV, RTV,
RTV. What is that?
nothing from TV.
She's
Oh,
saying.
or from TV.
Television advertising. They
Yeah.
spend their money on they spend hundreds of thousands of millions on the advertisement, not the product.
Yeah.
And I will tell you a funny story from a formulator, and he does a lot of consultations for companies all over. and he was going to consult someone, and he goes over, and the person is mixing vitamins in a canoe, in a barn. And he was putting it in jars, in the capsules, and selling these things. And this is happening all over. And by the way, when you see something for sale, like buy one, get one free, or 50% off, I will tell you those products have been probably, most likely, sitting in a basement for 1 to 3 years. So you don't want anything on sale at these, I call them stores for the masses of people. They think they're getting a good deal. I'm not going to name any stores, but the big stores that you get buy by bulk, people think they're getting something of quality, but they wind up paying the doctors later because it's low quality.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic point. I would recommend people look into how long even the produce in our local supermarkets have sat in different holding facilities before they make it to our shelves. It'll shock and appall you. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, and I think one more dose of confusion, that's a pun because I'm talking about doses, is a therapeutic dose. So I think everybody should take an air of prudence before taking anything or when they're taking anything, and then do a little bit of research and figure out what's the difference between a dosage and a therapeutic dose and what's best for you.
Since we're talking about herbs, I want to bring another point. Many herbs, particularly dry herbs, they are prone to be affected by mold. And it's very important when you get your supplements to look into third-party verification that is mold-free. Because many people could be getting intoxicated by mold. And when the mold start colonizing, particularly people who have cancer, their immune system is on the lower side and mold easily would grow and colonize, but could cause additional damage. So that's another part. For me, it's like a very important part to look into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maya, you had a question from Travis in the chat. Maybe you can address that. Thank you.
Where was it?
About mold. Yep. We know that was an issue in your household that you were taking care of. So thank you.
Sorry, are you talking about remedies that I spoke to, or?
Yeah, you can private chat with her off the camera.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. Just scanning for comments here.
I just wanted to bring your attention to it.
Yeah.
So we've had multiple questions in the chat about your glasses as well, Maya. And I know this is a great topic that we love going over. So, Maya, please tell us about the funky glasses you got on.
They're just the blue light blockers.
Rock star.
And yeah, and when I wear them, I do feel comfortable in my eyes because I sit in front of computer a lot. And when I don't wear them, when I forget to wear them, I would feel my eyes getting dry, and I could sometimes even tear up when I just look at the screen for a long time. So and plus they're blocking the blue lights. Even though I have I do have a blue light blockers on my computer, but it's not enough apparently, so I need to add them on. They're just so they're just a simple blue light blockers. I got them from Amazon. Just make sure you're getting 100% amber blue light blockers.
Awesome. I'll give my spiel on them because we have a lot of new friends who haven't joined us previously. But what she's referencing is blocking blue frequency light that is damaging to our health in a variety of ways that comes from the computer or phone or TV screens or even artificially artificial light bulbs such as LED lights, compact fluorescent lights, etc. Anything that's producing light that is an electronic device is probably producing not just light within the visible spectrum that our human eyes can see, but also producing frequencies that are outside the range that we can see. And there's certain frequencies that get produced by these screens or by these light bulbs that because our eyes can't, they're not designed to register them, they're not designed to process them, they get past our eyes. It's a very basic description. They get past our eyes like base level protection system, and they can damage our cornea, damage our retinas, and because our eyes are, of course, connected to our brains and our heads, that irritation and that disturbance then gets sent to the brain, and it can cause anything from headaches to restlessness, sleep dysregulation, etc. So blue light blocking glasses, for example, like Maya's wearing, or blue light blocking screen protectors on our phones or on our computer screens, or um, changing the settings in the software of your phone or computer to not output as much bluish hues. These are different things that can be done to try to mitigate the amount of blue light exposure that we are facing on a day-to-day basis. Personally, I wear blue light blocking glasses as well um, when I'm doing most of my computer work off camera. Um, and yeah, wonderful, wonderful implementation for people, in my opinion. We have a,
Some,
go ahead.
yeah, something to add. Blue glasses. I mean, if we go deeper into the science of that part, it helps it helps production of melatonin in the brain, particularly when you go before we go to sleep. It's very important to wear 'em. And melatonin is, we know, it's an important hormone. And the other aspect of it is melanin, the color pigment in our eyes, gets ruined, and it's affect the brain function. So, and it protects that melanin in our eyes by wearing these glasses. It protects them being exposed to blue lights.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Over to Bobby.
Yes. So definitely the glasses. I've been doing that for years. I was lucky enough to be with a brilliant chiropractor who's also a neurological chiropractor. She's fantastic. But with the blue light, that is absolutely so necessary now, especially with all the technology. I also, for me, I use products that have serums for your skin to protect it from all the blue lights because people don't realize they age so quickly with not being protected. So it's very important, the blue light protection.
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
could have a after the last minute guest step in to the call. You might want to call on this person before we close it up. It is a little bit past the hour.
Yeah, absolutely. We are past the hour, like Carl's mentioning. So if anyone does have to drop off, of course, you're not obligated to remain. We will stay open for a little while longer as the conversation keeps flowing. We are open to that. But if people do have to drop off for other meetings or obligations, by all means, that's okay too. But we'll keep the party going as long as there's a party to keep. With that said, Evelyn Steptoe, we would like to open the floor for you to grab the mic and let us know what brings you out and what is on your mind. I will hit the button to, oh, there you go.
I'm a little hoarse, okay, Dr. Kaya, from my chemo treatment. And so I've been trying to follow you probably about the last 6 months.
Well,
And what brought me out was that, I'm trying to look for holistic ways to put into my cancer treatment plan. The plan that I'm on with the Zolota has just really had some bad side effects for me, including my voice.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so sorry that you've been having difficult reaching us. Are you in a position to write something down?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, could just write down support at
Okay.
and the at sign. This is an email address, support at BeatCancer.org.
And I've put it in the chat as well. This way you can click on it there if you have
Okay.
access to the Zoom chat.
Yeah.
So that is an email address that'll get you in direct contact with myself and Carl. And then we'll be able to direct you to the abundance of resources and information that we have here. You're welcome to speak with Dr. Randy Shane, our in-house counselor. And we also have a variety of other resources that
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we just don't want you to have so much trouble to get in touch with us. That's unacceptable.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But I won't. You're welcome to share anything more. I don't want to strain your voice, of course, if it's uncomfortable for you to speak out loud. But in these closing minutes, if there are any other thoughts that you'd like to share, the floor is still yours. Otherwise, we can absolutely follow up after the call if you send us an email. All right. Any other last minute topics or things on anyone's mind or hearts that they'd like to discuss, or any last minute herbal remedies or DIY modalities to help combat cold and flu season, as it's called? No.
I have not a DIY, but I was just looking at it today. Has anyone heard of that the cookie company called Crumble? Has anyone heard of that?
I have heard of
Seen
them.
all of the terrible things that they've been putting in their cookies?
No, I
The
haven't heard of that.
the ingredients list is insane.
Mm.
What are they? Why? What are they doing? Are they?
The one thing that stood out to me was I saw that maybe there was petroleum, something petroleum like in their cookie. I was like, somebody may know more about it than me. I was just reading it in passing, but I was like, man, I may or may not have eaten one of these cookies.
A quick Google search shows me that the first ingredient is sugar,
Of course.
so I'm out. But oh, I see the food babe is on the case of these crumble cookies, so it's probably not looking too good for them.
Yeah,
But yeah, reading some of the ingredients here, we got some red 40 in there, classic, modified food starch, high fructose corn syrup, of course,
Yum.
carrageenan, we got corn starch, several other colors. Yeah, it's not looking so good for crumble. I'm sure they taste good, but yeah.
they do, but I don't think it's worth everything that they're putting in it.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's a value proposition that I suppose everyone has to weigh for themselves. But I think I'm gonna stay away.
It's going to be
And
pretty
that
with, sugar and high fructose corn syrup in it. It's like two different types of sugars. But yeah, Irene brings up a good point. You got to read the labels, and if you can't read the words and you can't imagine it growing or being raised or whatever, it's probably not good for you. If you can't
It's
pronounce
type
it, you can't imagine it growing, it's probably not good for you. Go ahead, Linda. You got your hand up. You got to unmute.
Oh, yeah. So I share this all the time. It's a free app on your phone called Yucca, Yuka. You go to the grocery store, you scan the barcode, and it will tell you on a scale of 1 to 100 how bad it is or good it is, and gives you the ingredients and what's in there. and then healthy alternatives. So I'm just going to put in the chat. It's like I said, it's free.
Yeah,
YUKA.
I got that app as well.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Another good point on this topic is just because you've read an ingredients list of an item once, do not assume that it will always stay the same. That is
Yep.
a very important point, especially in this world where what happens very often is a nice product will hit the scene. It's nice and clean. It gets popular because it's delicious and it's clean. And then they sell out to a large conglomerate who changes the ingredients.
Yep, just like Bragg's apple cider vinegar. That used to be the best, and now it's owned by some evil villains.
Yeah. And so that's a very important point because that could be a trap, right? You get this brand, you're like, oh my God, they're clean. I love them. I could trust them. And then right from under you goes the rug, and you're right back to eating some garbage. So it takes, I don't know, how long to glance at an ingredients list before you pick up a product in the grocery store. Not that long, especially if you are seeking out what should be a clean list or a clean item with a short list. So it's worthwhile to just, keep checking. Don't ever.
I just want to add one thing. The companies are changing the names so fast on different substances
Yeah.
that consumers are having a hard time catching up with those names, even though by checking on your code that they are coming more trickier and trickier. It's to put the names, let's say for red dye, yellow dye, or other ingredients, aspartate. They creating names that more appealing to consumers, and they just like go for it just because it says all natural. So
Yeah.
I would say altogether, just the way anything packaged food in the stores nowadays, I don't know how much we can trust at this point.
They
Yeah.
also change they also there you go. They
Thank you,
they also
Kathy.
changed the amount that they're allowed to put in and not actually be listed on the ingredients label at all.
Mhm. Yeah,
So they were doing tests on like I don't know, strawberry juice or whatever, and it said natural and artificial flavors, and it had a couple of ingredients. But when they tested it, it had over 57 different things in there that weren't listed on the label at all because it was under a
yes,
certain amount.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
It,
another
it, it
thing.
really is crazy, but the renamings are very nefarious.
Yep.
For example, so I just pulled up a list. If you were to see Allura Red on your ingredients
So
list,
beautiful.
that doesn't sound that threatening, right? But that's just red 40. If you were
Yeah,
to see Sunset Yellow,
right,
that sounds wonderful, right? But that's just yellow number 6, a synthetic coloring.
yes,
Indigo Tine or Indigo Teen.
yeah,
Um, Caramel color. That's another one, right? Ooh, caramel. Oh, I know what that is.
right,
Of course, sugary, but it can be, somewhat natural-ish. But caramel color is not caramel. Like that's not what that is. That's a very, blanket term. This color or this flavor. Look out for those blanket terms
Yep.
because, for
Even natural
example,
flavors.
natural flavors can be put on a lot of different things that might be very gross or they might be not so natural, but at one point there was a natural derivative and it was taken and altered chemically, etc. Some of the grosser ones are there is a coloring agent that's made from ground up beetles. And when you smush up the beetles, it creates like a nice red color. I forget what that one's called,
I
but
think it begins
that's
with a C, like
Yes.
carrot,
yeah,
yeah.
something, but that's a natural color. I don't know how harmful the beetles are or not to our health, but I don't want to eat beetles. There's another natural flavoring I recall.
You will not have a choice. You will eat the bugs.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other rabbit hole to
it
get
just
down because
Citric acid,
they're
citric
also
acid.
putting they're also putting crickets in a lot of things.
Yeah,
You'll see
protein.
like Cheeto Puffs, like even the natural ones made with cricket flour, and that's called something else too. Because if they call it cricket flour, not everyone will want to eat it. But what I was gonna say is one of the other gross natural flavorings, I believe it's a raspberry flavor, is said to be derived from the anal glands of beavers,
Ah,
if
Poor
I
beaver.
recall correctly.
I do
Um,
remember. I do remember seeing that.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
That's a natural flavor, guys. So, beaver is natural.
right. And interestingly, they are in Whole Food stores.
Yeah.
They're in healthy stores. That's another thing, we have to pay attention. I just stopped going to grocery stores. That's all. It's just
Yeah.
I think I'll be more safe if I won't go.
So it's
So
castoreum. Castoreum
a
is
store.
strong, musky, tar-like substance that smells sweet and warm, similar to vanilla. It's often used in baked goods and dairy products because it's more heat stable than vanilla bean flavoring.
Mm.
So is
let's
vanilla.
face it, we've been duped in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. A lot of these things aren't allowed in Europe and other countries, and even banned.
No.
We apply them liberally on our children's food.
Yeah. The only I just read somewhere like Europe allow about 40 different chemicals, but they don't consider them to be concern to the human, I mean like human health.
Like the grass.
In right, in opposed to over 1,000 here in United States.
And whatever the number is that's officially released, you can count on that it's far worse. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
the point is, it is absolutely essential to be your own health advocate, to be your own health investigator, to be your own, researcher. You can't, unfortunately, count on the organizations and institutions that have been created in this world to, that have been alleged to be looking out for us. The fact is, you don't know who's running them, you don't know who's operating them, and humans are susceptible to corruption, to coercion, to all sorts of different things that could happen that can end up having them not act in your best interest. But what you can count on, and what I hope you can count on, is that you will act in your best interest and in the best interest of your family. Um, that said, don't even just believe anything that you hear on this call. Don't take it from us. Go figure things out yourself and research things yourself. But that said, of course, we here as a community are all here to help each other navigate this crazy, precarious world of holistic health information, to come out on top as more informed and empowered individuals. Maybe not everyone on this call knows everything, but together we can know a whole lot about a lot of things and discuss and share and have each other's backs. The age of community is back, right?
Yeah.
There used to be very strong villages that, were very tight knit communities of your local people around you that were tight knit and everyone would look out for each other. And that's become all too lost in this modern world. But as the pendulum swings back, now look what technology, as crazy as it is, has enabled us to do. Now it's enabled us to meet with people all over the world. I mean, on this Zoom call right now, I know we have New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Canada, we have Texas, Virginia. I mean, we have international callers sometimes. And now we can all come together, New York, thank you, um, and just figure this stuff out. And
Right.
that's what Beat Cancer is here for. Connecticut, that's exactly what Beat Cancer is here for, to connect all of these people, everyone seeking the truth, seeking information, and just seeking living a good and healthy and informed life. That's what we're all about. So I do thank each and every one of you for joining us. I thank those that are catching the recording. I thank those that I had to drop off, at the top of the hour. And we couldn't do it without you, Otherwise, it would just be a couple of us staff members looking at each other and and just having a chat. But
You keep us going. You're the
yeah,
reason we're here.
and anything that we can continue to do to serve you guys better as our community, please don't hesitate to let us know because that is what we Beat Cancer are here for. Um, as a reminder, we meet every Thursday for these calls, unless for some reason Carl and I have extenuating circumstances. It's the same link every week. You are always welcome to join. If there's a topic that you'd like us to discuss, you are always welcome to pitch them. You can send that to us ahead of time in order to, put it in the queue of topics. If you're interested in becoming a holistic cancer coach, please do send us a message at support@BeatCancer.org. If you're interested in working with our in-house counselor, please do the same and we'll connect you with that resource. There's plenty of other educational outlets and tools and resources that we have. Please follow us on social media where our team, Ethan on the call with us and Zane as well, post wonderful snippets and educational quick little videos that can really, brighten your day and make scrolling social media an informative habit instead of just seeing silliness. Yeah, there's a lot there's a lot of information that we put out there and we're glad to guide you towards any of them. Just reviewing the chat for last minute additions.
And thank you to all our coaches that attend every week. We love you and again, this is what keeps us going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I see we have Marilyn in the house. Just want to make sure that's addressed. We're all over the states and all over the world as well. Of course, the time zones get in the way of some of our international and European friends joining us, but we love them all the same. Big thank you to everyone on the call. That said, we will wrap it up before I keep ranting. We love everybody. We hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their evening.
Deborah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.